The American guys have a phrase in Spanish, it's I heard it quite a lot in
Target acquired.
mi casa es tu casa.
You'll often hear like slight errors like mi casa es tuya casa and things like that. Everyone knows that phrase, yeah.
What is these Spanish things that make you crack up or just think, man, this language is wild?
Immediately can think of some things. One of my favorite things about Spanish is the way that the word for handcuff, las esposas, is a great play on words. What are some other examples? I don't know. I love things like órale, dale. I feel like we have them in English, but they're not as flexible. Narizón, cerebrón, cosas así. Culona. I love Spanish. It's a beautiful language.
Yeah, I used to hate Spanish until the point that people who's learning Spanish make me fall in love of language. I can discover the beauty of language through the eyes of who are learning it. That's poetry, man.
Beautiful, I agree. It's funny, learning Spanish for me has been a huge process in teaching English because I've been surrounded by Spanish speakers who are learning English while I've been learning Spanish. They make me look at English through different eyes. And I find English to be the beautiful, vocabulary-rich language. And I think I always kind of felt that way, but I didn't have the same level of passion. I particularly appreciate how difficult it is for Spanish speakers to pronounce English words. Happy to help people with that stuff. And I think I've gotten better at helping Spanish speakers with that stuff over time. I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry.
I was wondering how can we make the English speaker get hungry for joining the Telegram group?
Involves not just with the language learning process, but also connecting to people in the group. If you don't have personal connection, it's that much harder to be passionate about language learning. For example, Antonio, if I were to be a native English speaker joining the group who's new, and I find people who have similar interests as me, people who are similar age, people who are similarly motivated to learn languages, then I'm just that much more likely to stick with it and have that intrinsic motivation, la motivación intrínseca. I think that is the best way to get people. But obviously, a big part of it is just meeting people. You say to them, I have this group, I think you'd like it, and you just hope that they join.
I remember when I started to learn English, I wish there was a community like yours, and get in touch with real people. That is the way that you learn, when you see that native speaker make mistakes and speak even worse than you.
Exactly. It's a challenge how to keep them coming back. I want people to interact and I want people to learn. So yeah, I've learned a lot about that over time.
That is really good. I'm sure you've witnessed some amazing success stories and unforgettable moments while running this Telegram group. Yeah, so can you share someone?
I would love to share. Without saying any names, there's someone in the group who her Spanish was not great when she moved to Spain, but she was taking classes in Spanish. She would frequently write in the group, what does this phrase mean? What does this term mean? And we would help her. We would, look up the definitions. We would get a Spaniard in the group to consult and tell us what they thought it meant, whether it was a textbook entry or it was an audio someone sent her. So we were helping her navigate a new country, and her Spanish is much better. She lives in a different town, started to make more friends that are Spaniards. That's probably one of the biggest success stories that I think of. There's plenty of people in this group who, when I met them, they could not speak English, or they could barely speak English. And now they speak in complete sentences. They read articles in English. They apply for jobs that are in English, whether online or locally. I think success stories, there's no lack. There's quite a few. And I think that more than anything in this group, people learn to read and write well. But obviously, there's opportunities for everything.
For those English native speakers out there who might be on the fence about joining a language exchange group, what kind of advice or words for encouragement would you give them?
Don't be afraid to join these groups because you'd be surprised how similar the people are. These people are essentially doing the same thing you're doing from the comfort of their home. They're learning English. Don't be afraid. Jump into your chair, jump into whatever group you want to join, and start meeting people, start talking to people. We're all connecting more and more on an international level. If you're trying to learn Spanish, what better way to do it than to interact with people? Like instantly, I can have a conversation with you, Antonio. I can instantly have a conversation with someone in Uzbekistan, someone in Spain, someone in China. Is new and fresh, and it's a beautiful new frontier. So get out there.